Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and we're continuing our continuing our 2 year anniversary celebration of Disney Plus being on the air. No, it's streaming digitally. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yesterday we had The Simpsons and Plusiversary, and today we have Under the Helmet: The Legacy of Boba Fett. This is obviously a Star Wars piece. It's about 22 minutes long, approximately, and it goes from the very, very beginning of Boba Fett, before we ever had a concept of who he was, what he was. They didn't even know when they created him how big he would become or what he was all about. They show the very first test footage with Ben Burt, the sound designer, introducing this new character in armor. He was at one point going to be an elite kind of stormtrooper because he was all white, but he grew into a whole lot more. So much so he's getting his own series on Disney Plus in just a few weeks, I think. So I keep forgetting whether it's actually going to happen or not in December, or not. Anyway, yeah, I'm not going to ruin it for you. I'm just going to tell you the framework here. It's pretty much, it takes you from his very first, a man stepping into his costume, to appearing on television in the infamous Star Wars Holiday Special. For me, I remember seeing that the night it premiered. My great-grandma had to babysit me, and my mom dropped me off, and she said one thing: no matter what grandma had to be watching somewhere else in the house, I had to watch this Star Wars thing. And I have a feeling I could tell you it was a Tuesday night, I think. I could be wrong, but it feels like it would have been a Tuesday night. It's weird what you remember or what you think you remember, but I can tell you I sat on what is essentially a metal stool, a high chair, not a high chair, but it was like a good 4 foot high stool that all metallic, and I sat on that thing for what was almost 2 hours with the commercials. Yeah, and it was in black and white on a tiny television. It burned itself into my brain. It was Star Wars. It didn't matter how I saw it, when I saw it, where I saw it. And this is the time before you would have VCRs to record this. 1978 was not a time when people would be, what do you call it? Or 79. Was it 78 or 79? Good grief, I can't remember the year, but I can remember how I watched it. But it burned in my brain. If it was Star Wars, because I loved a movie, I had to see this show no matter what. So Grandma let me sit in the kitchen on a metal stool for 2 hours watching a tiny black and white TV. This TV couldn't have been more than 13 inches diagonal. It was not big. But I sucked in every horrible moment of that holiday special, with 15 minutes of Wookiee dialogue untranslated, and I got to see Boba Fett for the first time in black and white. Yes, TVs were made in black and white. It wasn't just the programming. TVs at one point only could handle black and white, because at a time, for a very long time, that's what the programming was. Anyway, that has nothing to do with Boba Fett other than my experience. Lucky you got to hear the story. Anyway, after that, they go into, they review all the different, his appearances, how little screen time he had, all 4 lines he spoke, and the phenomenon as it grew. And there's some special moments in here, some footage that you've probably seen on the internet if you're a Boba Fett fan, obviously. But if you haven't, honestly, this is a pretty great compilation. Between seeing all the men behind the costume, especially the ones that, not just the stuntmen, obviously, but also, Jeremy Bulloch. You have Daniel Logan, who played Boba Fett, not in the armor, but as a child, and Tamara Morrison, who is the Boba Fett we know as, well, also Django, but also the clones from the movies, the voice of the clones, not from the Clone Wars, but from the movies, and also, of course, Boba Fett as he appeared in The Mandalorian, and also in the book of Boba Fett coming soon to Disney Plus. So yeah, and it takes you all the way up to that point. And it has interviews with everybody, including Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy and Steve Sansweet and George Lucas. And yeah, it's pretty much covers it all. If you're a big Boba Fett fan, if you're a Star Wars fan, obviously you're watching this. I don't need to tell you to watch it. It left me giddy just to see something a little bit new. It wasn't a story or anything, but I love the behind the scenes stuff when it comes to Star Wars and how these things come into existence. So yeah, it's a great time. And if you had no idea who he is or why he's such a big deal, this might give you a little bit of insight into that. Especially if you're kind of wondering who that guy was, what the big deal was. Did you not see the original trilogy? Yeah, he died. He supposedly died in Return of the Jedi, but how's he alive? Well, there's a story to be told. I imagine we'll be getting that story very soon. But yeah, if you were wondering who this dude was and why he's such a big deal in The Mandalorian, if you're like, I don't know anything about Star Wars, but I like The Mandalorian because it was on Disney Plus, well, now you can get a little insight as to who he is and where he came from. And I said that way too many times already. So yeah, check it out. Under the Helmet, The Legacy of Boba Fett on Disney Plus. Tomorrow, let's talk about tomorrow. It's not random. I'm picking all these. Tomorrow we're going to watch Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So that is something I've already seen in theaters, but hey, it's brand new and it's Marvel, and that's what we're going to watch. And I'm excited to see it again. Give it a different... see it with new eyes. I think I saw it once or twice in the theaters. I know I saw it at least once. I saw it twice, at most twice in the theaters. And what they have now with a lot of the Marvel movies is an IMAX aspect ratio. For non-technical people who don't care how they watch things, they look at everything on their phone, that won't mean anything to you. But if you have a nice TV, a nice big TV, this is going to take, rather than widescreening it in a sense, which, yes, it's still widescreen, but it adds a little bit more to fill up the TV screen. So, still not going to be real IMAX. Real IMAX has been gone for many, many years. I miss those days. Look it up if you have any interest in what IMAX used to be. AMC has since taken, not ownership, but had partnered with IMAX to have IMAX screens in their theaters, and now IMAX is somehow at home. Well, it's as close as you're going to get. Aspect ratio changes. So, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.